Hello class, today we are going to look at simplifying a complex rational expression. I'm going to show you a method that's a little different than the way the book explains this process. I'm going to treat the numerator, which is the 1 over y minus 4 as its own problem. And I'm going to create the denominator of 1 over y cubed minus 6 as its own problem. Once I have them subtracted in this case, then I'll go ahead and get rid of division by flipping and multiplying. This is from 7.4 in your textbook and in the study plan. So the first step I'm going to do is look at this numerator, and I am going to go ahead and subtract these two. So I have 1 over y minus 4 over 1. On bottom, I have 1 over y cubed minus 6 over 1. Okay, so I just went ahead and made these fractions. Now I'm going to look up top and I want to identify the least common denominator. Least common denominator between y and 1 is y. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this the second fraction, by y over y. What that's going to do for me is the 1 over y stays the same. Now I have minus 4y over y. On the bottom, I notice that the least common denominator between y cubed and 1 is y cubed. So I multiply the top and bottom by y cubed. And that gives me 1 over y cubed minus 6y cubed over y cubed. So notice I'm just treating the numerator as its own problem and the denominator as its own problem. Now that we have common denominators, we can actually subtract up top. 1 minus 4y, those aren't like terms, so I just end up with 1 minus 4y. And the denominator is y. Bottom, I go ahead and identify that we have 1 minus 6y cubed over y cubed. So all I've done so far is combine the terms in the numerator, combine the terms in the denominator to create one fraction divided by another. So now to undo division, which is just this big bar in the middle here, we flip and multiply. So I'm going to take this bottom and flip and multiply it times my first one. So I have 1 minus 4y over y times the reciprocal of this, which is y cubed over 1 minus 6y cubed. So I've flipped that bottom one. Now we can reduce a little bit. So I notice that this y and the y cubed reduced. Remember, there's the power of 1 up here. So when I take 1 away, that gives me a y squared here, and that reduces out. Now the only way I can reduce these is if they factor a little bit. 1 minus 4y doesn't factor. 1 minus 6y cubed doesn't factor. So I'm going to multiply these together. Put the y squared out front that we're left with here. And we have the 1 minus 4y. And the denominator, we're just left with the 1 minus 6y cubed. So we've simplified the complex rational expression, and we're ready to go ahead and put this into Math Excel. So let's go ahead and look at the problem in Math Excel. Okay. So the first thing I want is a fraction. And let's look at our solution. So we're going to be plugging this in as our final answer. So I'm going to move it off to the side so I can see it, and then we'll type it in. So we have a y squared, so we're just going to put y, go up to the exponent, put in 2. Make sure you exit the exponent by pushing the right button. And then I have parentheses 1 minus 4y close the parentheses. That's all in my numerator. In my denominator, I got there by just pushing the down arrow. I have 1 minus 6y, and we need an exponent of 3, or cubed. Double check that we've typed everything in correctly, and we're going to hit check answer. And nice job. So that is simplifying a complex rational expression. Hope it helps.